So I finished putting together the shifter assembly, installing the I think it's BilletWorkz. Yeah, BilletWorkz short throw shifter. I've got the knob that's a Cosmic Blue Fusion or whatever it's called, so I went and got this shifter assembly with the same thing in the reverse lockout. There's a lot of good videos on doing this installation. A couple things I wanted to point out. When you're disassembling the BilletWorkz, it comes assembled, or you're disassembling to install it. Snap ring, there's a snap ring in here that holds the spring in for the reverse lockout. Found the really cheap Harbor Freight tool, $5 one with the interchangeable heads was the best. The holes in the snap ring are pretty small, so a lot of the snap ring pliers that have the brass tips that are replaceable, those aren't going to fit in there. So I recommend getting the smallest ones you can find. There's a Harbor Freight Pittsburgh kit. I want to say it has 4 interchangeable heads. It's like $5. Worked great. It's only $5, so it's probably the way to go. Another note, there really wasn't too much difficulty. Be really careful with these 7mm. So when you're taking it apart, you're going to remove this 10mm. You're going to hold this end with a 17mm open end wrench, and you're going to, let's see, there's 2 more. You're going to take these other 2 10mm out of this capture block, I would call it, that holds the whole pivot together. So to get the actual assembly out of the stock one, you've got to take that all apart, pull this block out of here, and pop it open, drive the pin out, get all the reverse lockout off the factory. And like I said, there's some good videos, and then swap them all out. I just wanted to note a couple things. So yeah, these 7mm, these guys are fragile. I didn't break one, but you can feel it when you're taking them apart. There's not a lot of torque, and they're held in with a very tiny plastic kind of retainer wall. So I don't know if the bolt would shear first or that plastic wall would fail, but it doesn't take much. So just hand tight. I'd recommend using a 1/4-inch drive so you have less torque available. I went ahead and put a dab of Loctite on each one of the fasteners that I removed. The 2 on top, just to make sure. I didn't run Loctite on the bolt itself, just on the end after, almost as like a torque stripe or like a torque indicator. It may help stop it from backing out a little bit. Probably not gonna do a lot, but I didn't want to run into the thread because these are all going through areas with grease and lubrication, so it's not gonna do any good anyway. And the other thing I'd recommend is you've got 3 Allen heads on the actual reverse lockout assembly for the BilletWorkz short shifter. I would recommend thread locking these guys. You can't put a lot of torque on them, so I throw a little thread lock. These ones you can just put it straight up on the bolt or the screw. The one that goes through, that kind of runs in the cut in the short shifter. That one I put the thread locker on the inside of this base. So when the screw ran into it, it captured it, because you're going to lubricate the short shifter that runs on the inside of this, so you get lubrication all over it, and it wouldn't do any good then. So I just recommend putting it on the outside. I used the thicker version of white lithium grease. You're probably going to need a little more than what's left in there, so that comes in handy. I'll have another video talking about the base for this. So I had a spare shifter base because I got the factory SCI short shifter. I contacted BilletWorkz about that. The SCI short shifter, I'll show you the factory one here. This is like the OEM one that comes in the car. There actually is a difference in where the cables run through. The main cable that runs on this point, I don't remember which side it's on, looking at it this way, but it sits higher up when you're looking at it from this direction, which is actually lower, closer to the ground when it's in the car. So I guess it'd be this way, down actually. The idea of that, I believe, is because this end, I believe, is longer in the short shifts, which is also why, and this is not the STI one, but it's also why there's some recommendations to divot the cover plate. in this area. Now the cool part about the STI one, it's already divoted. So the STI short shifter from factory, if you get the upgrade or if you buy it aftermarket, is already divoted in this area, so you don't have to worry about banging out a relief here. And you kind of get the bonus of having this cable retention being slightly higher, so you get a straighter shot to this higher point for the shifter cable. So I contacted BilletWorkz, they said it's fine. They didn't really say it's better, but they said it works fine, works well to use the STI cable base and the plate. We've seen stuff online where people have to divot it, so you kind of get it all in one if you already have it. It's not worth it if you don't, because cheapest you can find those STI short shifters is like 250 bucks, so it's not worth it if you don't. The only other advantage if you have in the car is you've got a spare shifter to work on. You can get this all built and do the actual installation on a different day. Anyway, just a couple pointers. Again, there's a lot of good videos on taking this guy down, taking it apart. I haven't seen any torque specs for it. I use the port installation video for the STI short shifter to get some specs. So from that, the 10 millimeters are 66 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. It's like 5.5 inch-pounds, or sorry, 5.5 foot-pounds. I think that's about the right math. Yeah, so it's 66 inch-pounds for the 10 millimeters here, here, and here. And that's for the 10 millimeters that are on this plate. These guys here, but they're roughly the same. I think they're the same diameter, so the thread pitch looks the same too. So it should be around the same torque. Just so you have an idea of something to torque it to. These 7 mils, I have no idea, just go light on them. But hopefully that helps out. I'm interested to see how much this will improve the feel. It's a good 2 inches shorter than the OEM one, so hopefully it'll improve the feel a little bit.